Welcome to the fray, Flak Pack. It's Termex here, and welcome back to another Borderlands 3 build video. And in today's build video, I'm finally going to be presenting my no DLC Flak build. And I'm going to be honest, with recent comings and recent videos, I've been talking a lot about power creep and a lot about DLC exclusive items being quote-unquote pay to win. And when I mention pay to win weapons in this game, I don't really necessarily mean it as an advantage, but after this past week of trying to make a no DLC Flak that has nothing to do with a stinger and a psycho stabber, because that's what 90% of people do, I came across a lot of things. I was like, oh, I can't get that easy 90% damage from the Pearl. Oh, I can't get that 200% shock damage for doing nothing with the Revolter. And it just reminds you that if you don't have DLC, it's pretty hard to find a easy to use build, but I put something together pretty well here. I even tested it on DLC things like Hermivorous, the True Maliwan Takedown, the Guardian Takedown. I've tried this build on many different sorts of contents that you shouldn't even have if you don't have any DLCs, but it could do basically everything. And it's really fun. It's a fadeaway setup. It's not just a Red Fang Gamma Burst. It's not just a freaking Psycho Stabber Stinger melee build with Rack Attack. This is a pretty fun no DLC Flak build that you could throw any guns in that you choose, because I know everyone likes to use their own weapons, but of course I have my own fun weapons here that we will go over. Alright, so going into our skill trees, obviously we have nothing in purple because that's a DLC thing, but let's start off into the green skill tree. We have 5 points into Furious Attack for the damage, 5 points into Eager to Impress to get our fadeaway back quicker, Lick the Wounds because you gotta get the perk, man. This is the best Flak perk in the game. On top of that, we have Turn Tail and Run for the gun damage and fire rate, and the damage reduction and health regeneration while moving. 5 points into Hidden Machine, so we get the 30% bonus damage when we're not getting targeted. And the Fast and the Furious is amazing because when we're above half health, we're just doing way more damage and getting a bunch more movement speed. 2 points into Rage and Recover for a little bit of health regeneration. And finally, the Capstone, the Power Inside, so we get that 50% damage for 15 seconds when we use our action skill. Over into the blue tree, of course, we did get our Frenzy He Bites combo to get the extra damage. On top of that, we got Psycho Head on a Stick just to progress further into the tree, and we went 3 out of 5 into Barbaric Yop to boost our pet bonuses. Now finally into the Hunter skill tree, we did get 5 points into Interplanetary Stalker for the stack damage, 3 points into Leave No Trace so we could regenerate our ammo on crits, 5 points into Second Intention for increased reload speed, and we did get Head Count so we can get our action skill back quicker as well. The Most Dangerous Game for the 50% bonus gun damage and 20% crits. Big Game just to boost our Hunter skill duration and effects. Galactic Shadow for the 15% bonus critical hit damage. And finally, Megavore, so we get that 20% crit chance. This is kind of your traditional fadeaway crit Flak build, but it is, in a way, with no DLC that I believe works out the best, because I think if you're going to have a no DLC Flak, Gamma Burst, I think it's just really overused. It's very easy to put together. Rack Attack, I think is pretty fun, but I just prefer all the utilities and bonus damages that you get with Fadeaway. Damages? Is that a word? But the setup I am rocking is Fadeaway alongside Until You Are Dead for the post-cloak movement speed and health regen, and Unblinking Eye. So when we hit a consecutive hit on an enemy, we're getting 75% bonus crit per hit. And honestly, I went with the pets. I finally chose the freaking Scorcher because I want the elemental damage just to help with the damage algorithm so we're not stacking too much gun damage on top of each other. So looking into the inventory here, I didn't want to put too much stuff in here. Ignore the res. I know the res is in DLC. I just have it in there because when I was testing the build, I wanted to revive my pet. Ignore the res. But other than that, I wanted these 6 weapons: the Globetrotter, the Redistributor, the Monarch, of course, because it's amazing, the Sandhawk, the Rowan Skull, and the Hellwalker. These are the main weapons I chose. You guys can throw in whatever weapons you would like. And anointment-wise, I recommend on-action skill and weapon damage, or on-action skill next to mags. Depending on the weapon, one anointment's going to be better than the other. I wouldn't recommend next 2 mags on the Hellwalker because you go through that pretty quickly, but next 2 mags on something like the Monarch works pretty dang well. Now for the shield, I had to choose between a stopgap or something other. I put on an Old God and forgot that's also DLC. So I decided to put on the Frozen Heart. Not only does the Frozen Heart freeze everything around you, but it is a great form of survivability. Especially with Flak, you're going to get all your health back every time you lose your shield, or when you just activate your Fadeaway, and it's a very, very great utility. If you do not know where to get the Frozen Heart, this actually drops from Aurelia on Eden 6. Up next, we do have the Hunter Seeker, which is just one of my favorite grenades in the game, and it helps out a lot since we are using a Bounty Hunter class mod. As for the Hunter Seeker, we have on action skill end, bonus radiation damage for the next 10 seconds, just so we can have some radiation damage. As you can see, we have fire, shock, radiation, corrosive. We don't have cryo. I'm just not a big fan of cryo. A lot of things resist it, especially enemies in the Maliwan takedown. But now for our bounty hunters rolls, we have shotgun damage, which benefits the Hellwalker, Jacob's weapon crit damage, which benefits the Hellwalker and the Rowan's Call, which is actually pretty nice, and action skill cooldown rate, so we can get our Fadeaway back pretty dang fast. And finally, we have our Relic. This was a tough one because I wanted to put on a death list to see how that worked. I didn't really like not having health gate. I couldn't put on the Pearl of Knowledge, obviously, because that is DLC 2. And I finally went with the Snowdrift Victory Rush, and I have two reasons for this. Victory Rush is just nice in general, because the movement speed and the damage lasts a whole minute, and you're always going to be killing badass enemies. But I love Snowdrift Relics just because of how fun it is to just slide around the map really fast, and it really makes you feel like a badass. I'm not even going to lie to you. With the rolls on this, I do have fire rate, magazine size, and action skill cooldown rate, and honestly, these rolls don't matter. I prefer the magazine size just because you don't have to reload as much, but then again, second intention is there if we do have to reload repetitively. Let's show you guys some Maliwan takedown on true takedown, just to show that this build is no, well, pushover. I love sliding like this. For me, this is just so freaking fun. I feel like a badass. We're going to activate our Frozen Heart here, go in the Fadeaway, get all of our damage. Now, I want you to bear in mind that this isn't a DLC build. I can't just pop on a Revolter. I can't pop on a Pearl. So the damage isn't always going to be the exact same. I just want that to be known. But it's still viable. It's not like you have a terrible weapon on your hands and you're at a massive disadvantage. But you're definitely at a disadvantage in terms of not having DLC items. You see enemies like this, just swap to your Hellwalker. Boom. It's easy freaking peasy. Hellwalker even works on armored enemies because it just does so much freaking damage. And we're going through everything. We're mowing through this true takedown like it's nothing. Wotan isn't really a problem, especially if you're using your Sandhawk or the Monarch, because the Monarch could really do anything, man. You don't need DLC for that gun to be amazing. The Sandhawk is another one of the weapons that I just find fun. Make sure you have it in semi-auto mode. Semi-auto mode has a tighter spread with the bird, and it does way more damage than any of the other modes that the Sandhawk does roll with. Just so you guys know, keep that in mind. But honestly, when it comes to takedowns and stuff, the Rowan's is probably going to be your best friend. If you want a full-on Rowan's Call, King's Call build, I did make a Flak build centered around that, but it did have DLC, if you guys do want to check that out. But this does pretty dang well. I'm actually impressed with what this build is doing without having any DLC gear or weapons equipped. Yeah, I know. I fixed that. My last video got made fun of for saying equipped-ed. So, I'm not going to say equipped-ed anymore. I'm going to say equip. You know what? I'm not going to say the word anymore. I'm just going to say I put the item on my character. Yeah, that's what I'm going to do. But yeah, guys, that is my no DLC Flak build. I hope you guys do enjoy this. And if you did, make sure you leave a like down below. And subscribe to the channel if you're new and you want to join the Flak pack. And hit that bell so you never miss out on another Borderlands video from me. And if you guys want to download this build, there is a PC save file in the description below. If that link doesn't work for some odd reason, you can join my Discord, which is also in the description. But anyway, you guys have a terrific day. And I will see you guys later.